welcome to send in their postcard with the big words in block letters printed "I love Hyper Studio," and a drawing will be held at the end of this decade. The lucky winner. Hyper letter, collection of fascinating Hyper Studio stacks, 5 discs in all, a $19.95 value. The lovely Hyper Studio World Tour t-shirt, coveted by young and old alike. We'll have to get the official t-shirt folder back in here though now. Mess this up. And, of course, a product catalog for his ordering convenience. With a toll-free number in case he needs more good stacks. Now, of course, this is just a thinly veiled PR campaign. Well, okay. Let's go. Oh, no, not you.
So you got any good stories you want to tell me on the way to the airport?
No.
No?
I nearly, well, I was going to say I nearly got thrown out of the Tower of London, but in fact, I did get thrown out of the Tower of London.
Oh, you did? I mean, you weren't supposed to take pictures there or something?
No, they said, oh, I'm sorry, not the Tower of London, the Jewel Room. Well, actually, it was in the Tower of London Castle. And they said, don't use your camera.
And you went ahead and used it.
Yeah, I basically tucked it underneath my arm and sort of acted like I was just carrying it.
But they caught you.
Well, then there was this big, in a really dark room, this big red light is like a spotlight.
Yeah.
And one of the royal guards came over and said, you must leave right now.
He said that to Roger Wagner?
Yeah. Of course, at the Tower of London, they made a much better offer. I was there for the closing. They close up the grounds at night, and it's a special ceremony called the Tower Keys, or changing of the keys, or something with the key ceremony, that's it. And they said that anyone caught with a camera would be immediately arrested and held in the Tower of London for the night.
You thought, oh, that's...
I thought, wow. I said, this camera's kind of expensive to do that with, but maybe I could go back and get an Instamatic with a bright flash. So I'd hate for him to miss me. And then I'll do that, and then I'll get to spend, I mean, not many people can spend a night in the Tower of London as a prisoner of the Queen.
That's right. Here's the party's over. Roger Wagner, the party's over, huh, buddy? So where are you going?
San Diego. Well, Tom?
Well, Roger.
He's ready to
nice
go.
Nose jam. I think I'll get into the...
All right, give him a good tip.
Well. Well, that was it, and as you saw at the end, I did get stuck with the tip, so. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Now, before our next speaker comes up, I'd just like to say one thing. On video, doesn't he look a lot like Mr. Rogers? Okay, our next speaker is, you know, you often hear the phrase, needs no introduction, overused. Well, it's true this time.
Rain cans at 10 paces. That's every
every speaker's nightmare to have to follow Paul's stat. I'm starting to write an opinion column for A+ Insider, which will start with their October issue, and these are the people who, I swear I am not making this up, they wanted to title this column Life in Deathridge.
Deathridge be not proud.
And now Matt will show us he's more than just a nice guy and a pretty face.
I have a very good friend who used to be in the computer industry who's moved on to other things which are more of his lifelong ambition. This is the first year he's not at here. Many of you know him. His name's Eric Mueller. And Eric and I are pretty close friends. And for a couple of years or more, Eric worked for Roger down in San Diego. And because I talked to Eric a lot, I also got to talk to Roger a lot. You know, often conversations on the phone, 619-442-0522. Hello, Roger Wagner Publishing. Oh, hi, Roger. It's Eric there. Matt, I'm so pleased to see you. You know, we were doing this installer script today, and we tried to do this file, and we couldn't get it to copy onto the RAM disk, and we had 3 copies of Hyper Studio running on this other machine over here, but the network was connected, and we couldn't be. Well, that's really nice, Roger, but I'd like to talk. Oh, he's over here. But then when we disconnected the network, we couldn't. It's interesting because through Eric, I got a picture of Roger as a very complicated, more than you know, and I got lots of insights about him, many of which are not repeatable. but it shows that Roger is an interesting person and one who's in his own mind definitely is very much deserving of profile here tonight. How many people got that? Raise your hands. Just so oh, cool. An artistic record. It's interesting because, can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is it?
Carry that over.
It's interesting because Roger's been doing this stuff for a number of years, and he's it's all very sad. He started back a long time ago, and everybody's familiar with a lot of the early stuff, the Writer's Toolbox, Writer's Choice, a word processor. I'd like to point out, Roger Wagner Publishing still sells, even though it's written in AppleSoft. Please order your copy today, 619-442-0522. But the major thing that got Roger into the position that we all know him in today was back about 1987 at a San Francisco Apple Fest during a keynote speech by John Sculley. Where Mr. Sculley at this convention was talking about HyperCard. And he said this is a wonderful thing and how it's going to open lots of new possibilities. And he said, somebody ought to do this for the Apple II, because we don't think we're ever going to. And Roger was in the audience and he said, I can do that. But they said it couldn't be done. They said the screen is too limited. They said the color wasn't good enough, which I don't know why you need color for HyperCard. They said everything was too slow. They said it couldn't be done. He took that thing that couldn't be done. And he couldn't do it. But he didn't.